Good morning, everyone. Welcome to today's thought provoking session on infobesity, how to cope with too much unrestricted information. So, we all are living in a time where we have access to a lot of information, which was never the case before. So, we have news alerts coming in our phones, we have social media updates, expert opinions, breaking headlines, podcasts, reels, many more of these. While it is great that this is the so-called democratization of information is empowering us in many, many ways, but it is also true that this too much of information is also overwhelming us. So we are clicking constantly, we are scrolling endlessly, but at the end of the day, we end up more confused than informed. So this phenomena is called infobesity, where it has become a mental, an emotional, and also societal challenge. So, we are here today to discuss this, and we are honored to have with us a speaker who brings great clarity to the clutter that is clouding our minds. Miss Shailaja Bajpai, Professor Shailaja Bajpai. She's a veteran media critic, journalist, widely respected for her sharp, incisive, and reflective writings on Indian television and news media.
Thank you.
Decades of experience in analyzing how media shapes public perception. Shailaja has been one of the few consistent voices calling for greater responsibility in not just how we consume, but also how we critique content. So she has worked with the Indian Express for over 3 decades. And she has also worked as the Vice Dean at Jindal School of Journalism. We are greatly honored to tell that she's currently the Professor of Practice at IILM University and also works at the print news website as consulting editor, readers editor, and media critic. She's also the Dean of the Print School of Journalism. I cannot think of a better person, a more informed person to really lead the discussion today. Please join me in welcoming Professor Shailaja Bajpai.
Thank you, Ashwani. Thank you for a very, very complimentary introduction. I feel very humble. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this session. Thank you very much for joining us, actually. It's my honor to be here with you today. Ashwani has already told you what we're here to discuss. Infobesity. We're all becoming very fat with all of that going on around us. So let's go immediately into it without wasting any of your time. The digital age as we know it and that we live in now was driven by the invention of the transistor in the year of our independence, actually, 1947. And then you came to the next big invention, 1956, actually the year that I was born, of the microchip. So together, the transistor and the microchip have driven an unprecedented growth, both in computing and in production of information. I'm going to flag one more date for you, 1996. 1996 onwards, we had the ability to digitally store data in an unprecedented manner again. In fact, since then, the production and the storage of data has become very cost effective, far more cost effective than on paper. So what does that mean for us, actually? If you think about it, it means that it is cheap. Because it's out there in the stratosphere, it is the growth is unstoppable. It's limitless, right? So that what you are going to see today is also up there in some cloud, which means that information and storage is now unstoppable and unmissable, and all of us in it. I wonder how many of you, in fact, have your own cloud up there in which you are storing information, right? Ashwani, if we can just give them an idea of what it's like today out there for us each day when we're looking at the figures. Do you have any idea what happens in a single minute? Well, just have a look at some of the figures. 16 million texts are sent, right? Almost 6 million Google searches are taking place just in 1 minute, right? I don't even want to tell you. You can see the figure, 230 emails are sent. And do understand that this, I culled these figures recently. It must have already changed and grown further, right? But this is not all. What are the largest sources of this information that is coming at you, right? It is all internet related. Mostly we're all using our internet, and it's again, it's where we're always at it, right? Everyone is searching for things. There are Google searches, right? Now if you move to the next slide, Ashwini, we can show them that. You are seeing that today there are 7 billion people who use the internet. Just imagine, I don't think we can imagine how many people are really out there on the internet, even as you and I speak, right? And look at the number of Google searches. I've put the figure just now at 3.5 billion a day, or 40,000 per second. I know that you know some of this, but I don't think you quite understand just how much is there. Actually, frankly, when I was preparing for this, I didn't realize that there was so much going on there. I'm a bit appalled myself at what is going on. You know, look at the growing volume. It says 5 billion searches every day, increasing. So what is happening there? So you have the internet, you have your Google searches, and then I think, which is for us the most important and what our children use so much, is social media. Ashwini, can we move on to the next slide, please? You will see here, all of us know this. I don't need to tell you. We're always on WhatsApp, or we're on Instagram, or we're on Facebook. One of these is occupying our time. Maybe you're on TikTok. I don't know. We're not available in India, of course, but YouTube, it's become the other one. And hey, what about the reels? Everyone is looking at reels all the time. Ashwini, do you look at reels? No, she's denying she does, but I don't either. But I do know that wherever I look around me, everyone is consuming reels.
Yeah.
So do understand that every time you share a reel, you look at a reel, you give it a little ping, and you say, I like it, you are generating more data, more information, which is getting stored out there somewhere, right? So when you think that you know, I don't know how to say this to all of you, but I find it, and I'm sure all of you do, that it's addictive, isn't it? We can't stop. The minute the phone goes ping, you reach for it and you start searching, right? I haven't even mentioned to you Twitter. I begin my day with Twitter because that's, as a journalist, I need to. And I end my day with Twitter, right? Which is about the worst thing you can do for your sleep, which is one of the reasons we need to be media literacy that I'm going to speak about just now. The point is that there is just too much that we are also addicted to. It's not that there's just too much information out there. The problem is that we're addicted to it, right? And so we have to be aware of that. But what's going on now? Look at the figures. Thank you, Ashwini, for sharing that. Extraordinary figures. Again, you're seeing how much time and what the kind of social media data per minute. So if I shared with you per minute earlier on internet consumption, now look at your social media consumption, right? I don't even know how to look. 527,000 photos are shared in a minute. I can't conceive of these figures, but I thought I'd just share them with you for a minute. Now, what has happened? So we've got all this. You've got your internet, you've got your Google searches, you have your social media. And now we're coming to the latest joker in the pack, AI, artificial intelligence, right? We're all there. How many of you are not using ChatGPT? Be honest. We're all using it. Some are now beginning to use the Chinese version, which is DeepSeek, right? And every day when I look at my phone and I go to Twitter, I find that every day there's a new invention on AI, new tools that we can use, which are very useful, but it's just adding to all that data and information we are putting out there or trying to generate all the time, right? So as you see, AI is the data driver of today. It is going to, and the thing with it is that this is just the first step, folks. Don't think it's going to end with AI. We don't even know what's going to come next, but there is a next, and we have to be prepared for it, right? What is very important for all of you to remember is that all of this is mostly free. You don't need to subscribe. You can find all of this freely available. And I know that you know and your children know this much better than we do on how to find and to use, which is why it's just growing at a level that we cannot, exponentially at a way that I can't conceive. What does that mean for you and me? I don't know about you, but for me, it means it's a mad, 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 mad world out there of too much information coming at the left of me, the right of me, above, and just straight at me all the time, right? And I, as I said to you, am a willing participant in this game of information exchange, right? So what happens? There is confusion. Ashwani, we can move on to the next one. Yes. So what's happening? We have too much information. We have too much opinion out there all the time, right? And what is that doing? Now, there are at least three very important things that are happening because of that. And I've thought about this quite a bit, actually, because I deal with it every day in my newsroom, and I talk to the all of our reporters and my other students in other classes, that there is so much, first of all, misinformation out there. Now, I know you all know, but just to be very clear, misinformation is when there is false or inaccurate information going out there, right? People are just passing it on without actually knowing or verifying. Then there is the much more dangerous one, which is disinformation. That is when people deliberately and maliciously change the news and spread it, right? And lastly, there is maybe actually the most dangerous is fake news. Why is it the most dangerous? I'll tell you why. Because it's the one that mimics real news. It's the one that looks like it's real because it uses the same language, it uses the same structure. And so you think that it's real, but it's not, it's fake. Now, if you put all of these together, you saw all of them during Operation Sindoor and the terrorist attack in Pahalgam, right? Which of us didn't watch the news and see that, what was it? Karachi had been attacked by our naval forces. Lahore had been taken over. I don't know how many aircraft were demolished, and our air bases were attacked. 90% of this information was rumor mongering and fake news, disinformation, misinformation, right? And yet, how are we to decide? How are you or I to decide that this is all fake, right? Because we don't have always the tools to be able to do it. That is why we at IILM, as Ashwani and I have discussed so many times, have this course in communication. And Ashwani is the one actually who said to me, no, ma'am, we need to include a lot of AI tools in this course now. And that is because of what I have just told you. We have to stay contemporary. We have to be up with the latest technology. But why? Because, can we move on, Ashwani? When all this is happening, you and I, maybe a lot of you, are old enough and mature enough to cope with some of this information glut that we face. But our younger generation, although they are very tech savvy, far more tech savvy than you and I would be, right? But they don't know always how to cope with the information because they don't understand the information. So, what is our goal? Whether you're a parent or you're a teacher, what we want is to empower our children on how to make their mark in this world, how to understand this world of information glut, right? And that is why there are courses like ours at IILM in communication. We are there to try and help them. And the ways that we suggest that we go about it are two, really, fundamentally two. One, that we offer you media literacy. Two, we empower students with good communication skills. Ashwini, we can move on to the next one just to explain a little. Now, why do I say that these are important for you, right? You see the 3 points here. Let me explain them a little. The point is that no matter what you do, in any job you are, and let's understand this very clearly. When we're talking about media literacy and good communication tools, we are not saying that all of you must become practitioners in communication or look for jobs in that. We're saying that this is important for each and every one of us because of what I have just shared with you, because of that infobesity, right? In this world, we're all in that game. And so we all need these skills. So you needed to have a clarity of vision. Very important for you in whatever you do. Of course, leaders need it and even more because it is only through good communication that they can clarify their thoughts and communicate those thoughts. Think about it. Unless you know how to verbalize or to picture your thoughts, you can't really communicate well or be a good leader. And that's what we hope for our children. Second is this whole business of motivating people, right? That, like today, I'm trying to motivate you to become good consumers of information out there. That is my job today, right, with you. And I'm doing that because I know how important it is for you in the new world. So you can't do that again unless you know and understand how to use the tools that we have, how to speak well, how to write well, how maybe to take a job interview. Either way, either that you're sitting on this side of the table or you're the person being interviewed. How to write a good job application. All of these require good skills. And those are the kinds of skills that we will teach our students. Now I come to which I think actually for me in some ways is the most important one, but the one that we ignore, strong relationships. The point is that today, I don't know how many of you've noticed, but certainly I have noticed in my nephews and nieces and younger generation, their inability to articulate their feelings, their thoughts all the time. This articulation, right, has made a distance grow between people, right? You have so many narratives now out there, conflicting narratives out there, that we are living in a very divisive world, aren't we? We can't not only talk to our parents, but very often we're not able to talk to our friends because we are believing different things now and are unable to articulate how we really feel. That, I think, is the most important part, to build strong relationships with ourselves, to understand ourselves, and to communicate with others has become more important than ever before, I think. It was always, it's not about a hug now. It's just being able to say what I think when there is so much around me. And I think that is why this course is so important. We have to teach our younger people how to communicate their feelings, their thoughts, their doubts, everything that's going on with them. Unless we can do that, they are not going to understand the world. And more importantly, we will fail to understand them and do our job by them. So can we go on to the next one, really? What are we suggesting? We are suggesting media literacy and communication. Media literacy is really the ability to analyze and critique the information, whatever's coming at you, whether it's a photograph, your ability to look at it properly. After all, it could be AI generated. You know that. Everything is being manipulated now. So you need to know how to look at it properly and catch the thief if there is one, or that you know it's genuine. You need to be able to determine whether it is fake news. And that, actually, don't we have a course in these? I think we have a course.
Yes, we do have a course on media literacy.
Yeah, we have media literacy, we have fake news, we have public speaking, we have in video production, we have in AI, and in all of these, we are going to be using AI and whatever comes next. Okay, as I said, that's as important. All these courses are in our package that we are offering our students. So in media literacy, you learn to critique and you learn to determine the kind of news and information that is coming at you. So that's part one. Part two is learning good communication skills. In that, I have already told you, once you have good communication skills, you are going to be empowered to use these tools that are now available to us. But you will know how to use them responsibly right? And this is very important. I want to make this point again and again to you. Technology is overpowering us at the moment in many ways. I'm pretty much lost, actually. I really don't know how to do half the things that are available to me. It is therefore controlling our lives. What we need to do is take back that power. We need to take technology, we need to control it. We need how to use it to the best way that we need it to help us. Our children need that and deserve that. That they know that, okay, this is the technology available to me. Now, how do I use it responsibly? And so that I can build trust in myself and with others. This is so important, right? When we talk about communication, it's not just about, oh, I can speak well, right? It is that trust, that faith that I can generate. And for that, I need to control the information and the media tools that I am using and the media creations I'm putting out. So we are saying, come to us if you would like to enter this world and discover with us how to use the latest information tools to be responsible and so that your children can advance in the new age. Ashwani, I think I have spoken for far too long. Do we want to discuss something more?
Ma'am, thank you. Actually, thank you so much for taking us through a very interesting when with the statistics, and also especially when you clearly came out with techniques on how to kind of really navigate this complicated space that in a way each one of us are going through. So thank you so much, and I am sure that it's really helping the students and the attendees of the webinar. So I'm just opening up the floor for a few questions.
Yes,
And while the questions are getting typed in the Q&A box, I thought without wasting time, I'll pop the first one.
please.
Um, so, see, you asked me this question while you were talking that whether I scroll through
Yeah,
and kind of,
yeah,
click on the reels.
right.
So, just not the reels, but also the news. So sometimes when I look at certain clickbait, poorly sourced news, I know it's clickbait. Yet, why do I get drawn in? Why does this happen? That most of us, we are very sane, conscious, educated, big bunch of people who talk in media, who have, sources which kind of really clarify that we getting the fake news or not. So, despite having the knowledge of it, we fall prey to this, not consciously, probably. So, why does this happen, and how do we get to resist it better?
See, I think, look, Ashwani, thank you for asking that question. Fact is, we're all human beings, okay? And we all like a little mirch masala. We all like a little sensationalism. Look at this terrible murder that has taken place in Meghalaya just now, right? Everyone is glued to reading about whether a wife actually contracted to have her new husband killed, right? So much so that when I went to someone, now I'm going to give you the example, as respected as the Indian Express on their website, it's the top news since yesterday, right? And for a minute, I was taken aback. But then who doesn't like it? So, first, it is human nature, right? The thing is, how can we responsibly, as practitioners, and I'm on that side of it, and many of you might even want to become journalists or content writers, how do I responsibly convey that news to you, right? It is that, I'll give you the difference. I recognize now, television tells me that the wife has committed this murder. When I go to the newspapers, which mind you are a little more responsible, always print media has been more responsible, it will say allegedly, reportedly. Immediately your antenna goes up. So when you're looking at anything or listening to any news, you must have your ear must be attuned to that. And that is what we will help you do. That's when I say media literacy, right? You will immediately catch, but ma'am, there's no source to that, you'll say. Where's the source? Who said that she did? Yesterday, television kept saying, oh, the cops say that she and her boyfriend have done this. Which cops? Madhya Pradesh cops, Meghalaya cops, or UP cops, where she was actually caught, right? Where she surrendered. So your antenna is immediately attuned. Mine is immediately. I know. So that's where media literacy comes in, and you must question everything. You, as an average person now, please don't believe it, go and verify it. Go and look at 2 or 3 different websites for that. And, as I said, in India, you look at the Indian Express, you can look at the Hindu, you look at Reuters for international news. What is it that you always tell me you go to, Ashwini? For verifying your news, where do you go? You
So
go
we have softwares and platforms which kind of really help us, understand fake versus real. So
right.
we have a lot of sources, especially AI, generated spaces that kind of help us pull
But
that
even on
information.
AI, we had this great discussion the other day in office where we have to be careful of even AI,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't always give you accurate information. Now everyone's going
Yes.
to Graph also, right? Is that it?
True.
Yeah.
True. True. True.
So
Yes. Yes.
again, we have to teach them how to use AI, because with AI, the fundamentally important thing is how you frame your question or
Hmm.
what you want it to do, right? It will pick out that and do it in a version, depending on what you ask it or say to it. So we have to teach, everyone has to learn how to say what they really mean. Mean what you say and say what you mean. This is something I learned when I was a kid. I think that's what we need to do even
Yeah.
now.
Yes, the space is even, I feel, becoming even more complex with even AI generated videos
Yes.
that kind of look even more than human. So there
So
are,
dangerous. So
yeah,
dangerous.
yeah. So there
Now
is this
I can have
election
Prime Minister
campaign.
Modi being ticked off by US President Donald Trump if I want.
Yeah, yeah,
So I mean, that's just how difficult it is. But there are ways that you can tell how it has been done. Most of us can already tell. And
yeah.
kids today are very savvy. I have a lot of respect for them. They know much more than we do. And we just need to fine tune all those skills they have.
Ma'am, I have a question here, which looks very interesting. So it says that you have watched the evolution of Indian news media for decades. So, in your view, has the volume of the content improved or has it diluted the quality of the public discourse that exists today in the society? Do you think it is diluted or has it improved?
I
Interesting.
have to be very sadly say that in many ways it has been diluted, primarily, and I've said this before, so I'm not shy of saying it again, because of television news. When you asked me about, all that, I see something and I don't know whether to believe it. This is very much because of television news. It sensationalizes everything. It blows it out of proportion, and frankly, it just gives you fake news. As I said, all this business of Karachi being attacked during Operation Sindoor was coming on television channels. And when you look at the Washington Post actually did a story where they talked to practitioners and they just said, oh, it came on our WhatsApp, so we immediately put it out. They have this immediacy. We say to you, good journalism, good communication is when you stop, you're not in a hurry, and you look at that and you verify the information before you put it out. Television news sadly has not done that. Television news, therefore, has given us a bad name and has given journalism and all good communication a bad name, unfortunately. So I think, yes, we've had a problem there. This problem that we have talked about today, infobesity, there just being too much there, it's impossible for anyone to verify everything, right? So in our limited capacity, we try to decipher and to go to sources and give you the best. My advice to everyone is always stick to people you can trust. To what? Don't go to all the information. Don't read news on social media, right? That is another thing that's happened. Social media, social influencers, which we also have a course in, by the way, Ashwini, right?
Yeah, yeah, we do
Because we
have.
understand now if the Prime Minister is giving interviews to social influencers, then we need to equip our students. on how to be a good social influencer. Why should they not be? But how to be a good, responsible one, right? That is always the distinction in our minds, in our courses, and that is what we will convey. So, know the news. Also, if the bias has increased, Ashwini, as we know.
Yeah, definitely,
So,
yes.
because of
So
that,
it's
news
becoming
is
more
now,
polarized.
yes, we've become very polarized, right, left, left liberal, ultra or neocons in America, and everyone has their own channels because you see, it's all available now. It's limitless, as we said in the beginning. You can begin your own YouTube channel like that. You can start a podcast. Anyone can, and anyone can listen. So it's become more difficult. There is a dilution, but there are still very good sites out there, and there is a pushback. There's another course that we are doing, not only in fake news, you can become, in your career, for instance, you can become a fact checker. It's become a really, really solid occupation now, and a very well respected one. There's this Mohammed Zubair, right? He became from alt news, he became the star of Operation Pelgam because he kept calling out all the fake news. So, sadly, to answer your question, there has been a dilution, but there's also a pushback, and always go for verified news.
Thank you, ma'am. The next question is, um, how do you personally filter information that you consume in your day-to-day life? So if there are any habits or practices that they could adopt.
Yeah,
These are
sure.
from our students.
I told you, my parents and students, the first thing I do is if I see it on television, I don't trust it, I immediately go to check on a website that I trust. So if it's for foreign news or information, I look at something, let's say, like Reuters. It's a news agency. It's a very well respected one, right? If it's Indian, in India, I will go to the websites of one of the main newspapers, the Hindu. Now, yes, I know some of this is behind paywall now. But I think the time has come where I subscribe to a lot of websites and to newspapers, and everyone must learn to do a little bit of this, right? Because if you want to get the real picture, you must do that. So I go and check on that, right? On social media, I always check out who is putting out this information, right? So if I see something and I think, oh, this is interesting, I go and click and see who is the person and what are their antecedents. Everyone can do that. So we know whether there is a bias here, whether they're immediately giving us things. So that's the second tool. First, you verify. Second, check out who's giving you the information. The third thing I do is I read multiple sources, or I look at multiple sources. I won't only go to one for anything if I have to. Fourthly, frankly, over time, I just developed an ear and an eye. I also mistrust anyone, for instance, who uses too many superlatives, adjectives, adverbs. Wonderful, India is the greatest now, Pakistan is the worst, whatever. Immediately, your antenna, we call it the bullshit detector. Your bullshit detector goes tweet, and you know immediately, there's something wrong. Why do you need to use? See, good communication doesn't need that. I don't think you or I have used many adjectives or adverbs. At least I hope we haven't, and it really isn't required. So I really do these kind of things. I am conscious of the way I speak and how I convey my thoughts.
Thank you, ma'am. Actually, that's very practically insightful. I'm taking the last question, and that's very interesting. But I would like to answer this, so
Okay, good.
of
Please.
course, with your
I'm
assistance.
glad to take a break.
So, because this question is on how AI is changing the media space, and what
Oh,
are the
please,
courses that we are offering here at IILM on the AI front, on the
please.
integrations. I'll just begin, and of course, I'll pass the mic to you. Because I'm just really excited to kind of tell how um, the entire media space, whether it's news writing, whether it's editing, transcripting, all this is getting changed, automated through AI, of course. So there are many AI tools obviously generative tools currently like ChatGPT, Midjourney, and Gemini, and all these which produces. So we know ChatGPT because it produces the text for us, the visual, the picture, the video, the PPT, all these, right? But with minimal resources, these kind of changes are happening. Now, what's going to really factor would be that how these social media platforms will also use AI algorithm to give you personalized. So as like Ashwini, what are the kind of content that Ashwini wants to feed in? What are the trends that Ashwini follows? What is her political affiliation or interest, or how what kind of public opinion does she cater to? So in a way, we're going to have these AI agents, AI algorithms, which will personalize these feeds and trends and our opinions for us, including my shopping trends and my fashion senses, my culinary habits. All this is going to get really integrated into the AI space, which is going to make the media space rapidly change from what we currently know, and as that it's been existing as the fourth pillar of the Indian political system. So it's going to really rapidly change. So what we are doing here is that we're offering a lot of courses. Like for example, how do you write for an interactive media? Of course, you have ChatGPT. But what are the prompts that you're going to give? Like Shailaja ma'am was also talking about. What are the prompts? So prompt engineering is going to be like the most sought after profession. So how do you write for it? So these are courses that we are offering so that you will fit into this changed space. By let's apparently by 2030, this whole consciousness of humanity is going to really change to AI will become like the human consciousness. So once that happens, how does media space look like? What so what is going to be like an immersive there's going to be an immersive journalism experience. You're going to do storytelling, but you're going to do data driven storytelling, like Shailaja began with. Like she showed you data and she told you a story. She helped you visualize the number of texts, the number of images, the number of tweets that's happening every minute. So these kind of data driven storytelling a little bit more immersively will happen. So AI powered content creation, personalization of media, mixed reality. Like, so now we are watching television like this. Probably tomorrow we are lying on our bed and watching a movie, just lying down through our immersive, reality, like a mixed reality. So these kind of things that are rapidly changing, as she was telling, every single day. The media space is changing. I'm not saying just journalism and news space, the advertising space, the public relations, corporate communication, political communication, film, OTT, entertainment, all these spaces are changing. So, what we have done here is for every course that you're studying, one unit is dedicated for the recent trends in AI and how that changes. Like you're doing a news writing course, you're going to have a unit on AI and news writing. AI enabled news writing. What are things that you have to look for? So there's going to be a lot of AI enabled interference into the curriculum, which makes you more adaptable to the changes that are happening. I was really excited to just say this. So, ma'am, over to
I
you.
just add a little, if I may, Ashwini. It's so interesting now, storytelling, and that's what we all do. Anyone who is a good communicator is actually a storyteller. But storytelling has also changed now. Whether we're at the print or you look at any major newspaper now, they're doing what we call now multimodal communication. This is very, very exciting. This means that we are putting text, video, photographs, and oral sound all into one story. And the way we tell it, we're telling it to you through all of this. There's something called storyboard, which we use at the print, for instance. And it's absolutely fascinating. You can see when a landslide is coming down, you see the landslide coming down. You hear the water gushing. You read and you see the still. All so it's what we now call, because there are different modes of communication, right? So it's multimodal. We have moved into now. Obviously, a lot of this is generated by AI. Okay. So, but we're moving into this very exciting. It is absolutely, I can't tell you, I love reading or seeing those stories. And for instance, we are going to teach you things, when I remembered when you said that bit about how algorithms are deciding what we watch and see. You see, that's what's happening. We're all watching news or listening to only what we think we agree with. This has become a big problem with communication and journalism, of course, that we don't want to hear the other side. So we have to also train. That's when I said media literacy. We have to train everyone. You must hear the other side too. You must learn technically how to deal with only an algorithm giving you what you want, right? So I just wanted to say this. This is a very exciting future in storytelling coming up.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Professor Shailaja Bajpai. And thank you so much for this reflective session on behalf of IILM University, our faculty, staff, and students and other attendees here in the session. Thank you so much. And thanks everyone who joined the session. And as usual, I promise you that I'll bring you the best people and personalities and change makers in the space for this podcast on Voices of Influence. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashwini, for inviting me. Thank you, everyone, for taking out this little time. It's a morning, I know, for all of you. So we're really grateful that you have joined us. And thank you very much for this opportunity. I hope I'm able to help you a little bit in understanding the world of media. Thank you.